I'm Manny,
I'm Noah.
This is Devin.
and this is No Such Thing, the show where we settle our dumb arguments and yours by actually doing the research. On today's episode, we are doing a year in review. We're going to be talking about our favorite movies, music, and news events of 2024.
There's no such thing. No such thing. No such thing. No such thing. No such thing.
All right, last week we were off for Christmas, and we're still kind of in that weird week between Christmas and New Year's where like no one's really doing anything. It's like this work purgatory, and I think that's being reflected in our episode this week. We promise we'll be back with our regularly formatted episodes next week. We've got some bangers lined up, so stay tuned for that. But yeah, we're doing our year in review. We're talking about our favorite stuff this year. I think we can just start with movies. Noah, what was your favorite movie of 2024?
So I was thinking about this, and there's still a few big ones I need to see now that they're finally all coming out at once.
Yeah, it's an annoying thing about movies.
Yeah. Basically, I won't really be able to answer this till February probably. But my number one movie, and I'm not sure if either of you have seen it, is Between the Temples.
I have not even heard of this. What is
But
this?
it's with Jason Schwartzman and Carol Kane. She's an elderly woman trying to get bat mitzvahed late in life. He works at a temple, but he's supposed to like lead the songs there, but he can't sing, and he's dealing with losing his wife and kind of horrible past.
Are you okay?
Mrs. O'Connor.
Do I know you?
Benjamin Gottlieb. You were my music teacher.
Huh.
I worked down at Temple Sinai. I'm a cantor.
So interesting, because I'm an Aquarius. We're opposite.
Cantor.
And so it's kind of a odd couple sort of scenario, but it's really funny. It's sweet, but at the same time doesn't like pull its punches when it comes to kind of some uncomfortable moments. I kind of had no expectations going into it. Just saw it at BAM on a random day. And I was just so pleasantly surprised by it and left feeling reinvigorated. I'm not sure if everyone would be able to connect with it as much as me, maybe, but but I would recommend it.
What'd you throw on there for the letterbox?
I'd probably give it pretty high. I think I'd give it 4.5 stars.
Wow.
Yeah, it's
So
up there.
An incredible film.
Well, it's your movie of the year. It's got to be.
Oh, not only did I like watching it, but I think I would like watching it again, even if I watched it tonight, or if I watched it, and I can see myself watching it years from now and enjoying it, which goes a long way.
I guess we don't want to spoil the Letterbox episode to come, but the fact that Manny was surprised by how high your favorite movie of the year was rated is pretty dope.
Yeah. I, honestly, on a rewatch, I might even throw it a 5. We'll see.
Wow.
I'm opening up my heart a bit.
Wow, I got to see this film.
Yeah. I'd be curious to hear what you guys think about it. If you do
Check it out.
I've got like, you'll have to bear with me. I've got like my highbrow pick and then my kind of more fun pick. The highbrow one, I don't know if you guys seen Evil Does Not Exist.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I really liked it. So last year or 2 years ago was Drive My Car. It's like the same director. I thought that one was like fine. Like I enjoyed it. It was super long, obviously, but this time he's got this movie about this community basically that's affected by like the construction of like a glamping like social media site. And on the surface that's the plot, but like underneath that plot it's more about like, I don't know, some of the same themes of the previous one, to human connections and like all the little nuanced ways that we affect each other's lives, like how the decisions I make might affect Noah or Devin's lives, and how like really considering that is important because otherwise we're just robots, or we might as well be robots, or these like inhuman kind of figures. It's streaming on Criterion Channel if you haven't seen it yet.
っていうのは低いところに流れる。で、上流の方でやったことは必ず下に影響します。
汚染って言ったって都会の水よりずっと綺麗ですよ。
グランピング場の予定地、あそこは鹿の通り道なんだ。
ってるほど住民の方たちはバカじゃないですよ。
But then my kind of like more fun pick, I really, really enjoyed the Furiosa movie, the Mad Max movie.
Yeah.
And I think it might have something to do with going into it with like really low expectations, because they did that movie a total disservice with the trailer. Like the trailers really positioned this film as like this Marvel extended universe situation where they're like all these like side characters and cameos and stuff. But so I was like, oh, this might suck. But I went into it and I thought it was like really rad and doing a lot of cool things. And you've got the classic George Miller, like we're going to actually do the action scenes. And I left that movie being like, damn, like this is what movies are about. Like,
Yeah,
I want
I
to
agree.
leave just like shocked, like, wow, can't believe they did that. And I thought it was incredible.
The question is, do you have it in you to make it epic?
But I will also say I didn't get to the movies that much this year. It was an off year for me.
It's down year for movies for you?
Yeah, like for that to be my pick feels a little off. But I got to go see some movies before the year ends.
Manny, what would you rate those two picks?
Oh, Evil Does Not Exist. It wasn't like kind of like mind blowing, but it was like a solid 3.5, I think, at least.
Yeah. Out of 5.
I could see it being a 4 if I were like in especially mood that day.
I really like that town hall scene. I was locked in during that.
Yeah, leaned forward on the couch during that scene.
Yeah.
I think 3.5 or 4, and then Furiosa probably a 3.
Okay.
Yeah.
Best movie of the year, 3.
Favorite movie of the year is a 3.
Most memorable,
Furiosa, I'll say, is already one where I was scrolling through, just was on cable the other day. That was on, and I was like, sat back for probably 15 minutes watching Chris Hemsworth. All right, Devin, what's your pick?
We're still in movies. Obviously there's the big ones of the year. I think that's on everyone's list, like the Dune 2s and Challengers. Those are probably my 2 mainstream picks.
Challengers my big mainstream one.
Yeah,
that's incredible.
A lot of people have talked about that one, so I won't waste more time talking about it, and we'll talk about it later.
Yes,
and to come on NST. But I'm gonna go with A Different Man. So this is I don't know. Have y'all heard of this?
Yeah, that would probably be my number 2. That was like on my short list. I loved it.
So the way I think about it, and I think I put it in my Letterboxd review, is like this is like if Charlie Kaufman made The Substance. So the premise is like this dude, he has like a facial deformity, and he can basically goes to like get a surgery to make his face look quote unquote normal. But then a lot of things. I don't want to spoil the movie because it's actually very interesting, and it's like one of those things that like the least you know about, as little as you know about it going into it, the better.
This piece of man candy.
Can I believe my eyes? Edward, who don't remember me? Oswald.
Hi. That guy's amazing.
What do you know about him? Who is he?
He's leading a double life.
I'm getting the feeling I've messed things up for you.
But it's funny because I saw it maybe a day or 2 after I saw The Substance. And it felt like they would make a great like back-to-back screening, sort of definitely in the same. It's like a much smarter version of The Substance. It's much more layered. And it's like, I think sometimes you can be like, this is like a Charlie Kaufman version of this thing as like an insult. But I thought this was like a very good Kaufman-like world. Where it was like, it's layered, everything's a little bit off, everyone's a little bit weird, but it's also like you get the world pretty quickly.
Yeah, and it's not too hyper stylized or something, where it still feels grounded. And even though it what was pleasantly surprising to me was it pushed the story way further than I expected.
Yes.
without saying too much, but yeah.
Yeah, where you think it's gonna go is over in like 15 minutes within the movie.
Yeah.
It's oh, where are we gonna go from here? The thing has already happened.
Yeah.
So you, the two of you, do you think it? You don't think it necessarily replaces the need for the substance? You just think it should be like a back.
No, they're different enough.
They're very different. Like this movie is not as easy of a movie to consume as something like The Substance.
Got you. Now, if I'm only gonna watch one of these movies,
you should watch A Different Man if you're only gonna pick one. Okay. Knowing you.
Yeah.
What the hell does that mean?
That's a compliment in this case.
Oh, okay. Knowing you're dumbass, you gotta choose The Different Man.
I'm saying, like, if I had to pick, like, if you're like between these two movies, pick something that like a mainstream audience is gonna like. I'm gonna pick The Substance because it's a lot more straight.
A Different Man is more interesting.
Yes.
Gotcha.
But it's also, you know, you got to pay a little bit more attention. It's a bit more layered. You're gonna have a bit more questions. You know, probably show your mom this. I wouldn't show my mom either one of these, but if you're gonna pick one, show your mom The Substance.
Yeah. And Sebastian Stan was great. He's had a great turn for me.
Oh, is he the lead?
Yeah,
he is.
I'm a fan.
Yeah, he seems like he's got a good head on his shoulders.
I haven't seen the Trump movie yet, but I want to see him.
You don't need to see him.
Noah's shaking his head.
Yeah. After what they did to my president, no way.
So I think that might conclude our movies portion of the episode. We can move on to music now.
Well, let's start with Manny because
I was gonna say Manny's famously not a music listener either.
Yeah,
as much as it's a down year for movies and doesn't listen to music.
He doesn't. So we all we're the last 3 people on Earth who still have Apple Music. So on our I don't even know what they call it, Apple Music year in review,
rewind or replay.
We usually send it to the group chat, and every year Manny's numbers get crazier. I'm like, I don't even know. Your numbers are so
It'll be
low.
like 60 minutes.
Yes. Like his top listened to song of the year is like 3 plays. I was like, is this correct?
My top listened to artist, unsurprisingly, was Drake.
How many minutes?
I listened to him for 142 minutes.
That's
so that's
Scorpion.
Like one album. Yeah.
Scorpion from front to back.
Yeah, I don't know. I just
your 5th artist of the year is Future at 65 minutes. There's not a Future album that is 65 minutes long.
Yeah, so I mean, what do you do? Like, how do you hear music?
You know, it's weird when they rank it that way, because I do, like, if I'm at the gym or if I'm like at home cleaning or something, there is music on, but it's never like I never listen to the same thing again. Like, it just keeps going and going.
You put just stations on or something?
Yeah, and so it doesn't end up ranking. Like, you'll never see any of like I never like heart a song that I really liked. So I do know that I listen to music way less frequently than the average person. But when you look at these ranks, it's like, okay, I did only listen to Drake for 100 minutes, but that doesn't necessarily paint the picture of how often I'm listening to music. But speaking of Drake, this is a good segue. There was, you know, as we talk about our favorite music from this year, our favorite song even, there was a very high-profile rap beef that happened earlier this year. And I don't think that this song is necessarily my favorite song of the year, but I don't think it gets enough credit, if I may be a Drake apologist.
Oh, is this what I think it's going to be?
I think so.
God.
All right, go on.
I think by far the best song that came out of that beef was Family Matters. And I think a lot more people would agree if Kendrick hadn't been so smart to immediately snuff out the hype around it by releasing his next song. Like, that strategy around it completely just belittled what the song was. But I think when you really go back and listen to it, like bar for bar,
best song as in like song you enjoy listening to, most effective song in the beat.
It's the most dynamic. It has the best rap bars in it.
Hey, Kendrick just opened his mouth. Someone go hand him a Grammy right now. Where's your uncle at? Cause I wanna talk to the man in the house.
It's got all the switch ups, which are fun. there's the layers of like how many people he's dissing in it as well, which is just like a fun exercise to listen to. Now, Not Like Us, don't get me wrong, it's a gigantic song. Obviously, it's been played over and over for the entire year, especially because of what he's saying in the song. But and that's part of the genius of the song, is like it coming out right after Family Matters, and like no one really talks about Family Matters. But yeah, I challenge any like rap head to like go listen to the songs back to back, pull up the Rap Genius, read the lyrics through. I do think that song is like better quality.
But we had this issue before during the Pusha T Drake beef, where I think you have a very different understanding of what is a good rap beef song than I do. Not Like Us obviously is the song.
Yeah,
might be song of the year. Period.
We agree on
outside of the rap beef.
Yeah.
I get it. It's not your favorite. But you said it's the best song. And like we also had this conversation around the Pusha T song. I don't know, Story of Adidon. And you're the song isn't really that good. But it's like, it doesn't, like, no one is getting into a rap beef to be like, I gotta, how structured is my song? And like, I gotta make sure that like it's cohesive. But I think Night Like Us is a better song.
I think it's catchier, and that's about it. But here's the thing. We're talking, like, these are two different conversations, right? We're like, I'm acknowledging that we're talking about rap beef. What's more effective in a rap beef? That's Not Like Us by a mile. I'm just talking about, we get a chance in the NST podcast to pick a song that we think maybe didn't get enough spotlight. And I do think it's a better song. I don't think it means he won the beef. Yeah. Clearly not. That was like the most lopsided beef in rap history, maybe. But yeah, I think it's just I think I listened to it the other day. I'm like, God damn, this guy was going crazy on this song, and we don't talk about it because Not Like Us dropped 8 minutes later, and that was it. Anyway, that was my pick.
Okay.
That's a good pick. Devin, you want to go?
Sure. I'm not a huge singles guy.
Yeah.
I mostly listen to albums. So even looking at like my top songs of the year with this Apple Music review, it's just like it just becomes like, what are the albums I listen to the most?
The same. Yeah.
And it's like, all right, here's 10 songs from the album in your top 20. So I'm not gonna do song. I'm gonna do my top album of the year, which is Love Guess Who by this artist named Autre Noval. It's funny because this year I was listening to a lot of the same artists I was listening to in like 2016. Like my top artists were mostly those artists.
Pine Grove,
yeah. How to Dress Well,
yeah.
Bon Iver.
I thought that was gonna be your favorite album, the How to Dress Well.
That's that's close.
It's up there,
but the Autre one came out in November, and it was my top played album of the year, which is kind of crazy.
Wow. Yeah.
It also, I saw him perform that album. He hasn't performed in like a long time. And I saw him perform the album the day after the election, which was pretty wild and kind of a weird headspace after also working for like 2 days
sure.
after your president was elected.
Yeah.
Noah.
Our president.
To be like, do I want
too.
to go see a concert tonight? Is that really where I want to go?
Yeah.
And like to go see this man, performs. And it's, I don't know. I just felt like this year too, I saw a lot of concerts that I was just sort of like, that was fine.
Yeah, I was curious if you had a favorite concert, since you're probably the biggest live music head of all of us.
Definitely Autre. I don't know. I feel like there's a lot of artists right now who are just showing up and playing songs, which is fine. But I like to see an artist where you're like, I don't know if this person is going to finish this concert. Like they're going through it. Like they're going through the emotions of when they recorded it the first time. And I've seen that man play big spaces and like very small spaces, and he always performs as if it's like Madison Square Garden, like body on the line sort of stuff. And it's nice to see. It's like, that's why I showed up. I didn't show up for you to just sort of like,
Hear it,
yeah, exactly. Just like play, just, quickly go through the album version. So that's
what would be a standout song if you had one?
Ooh,
for people to sample.
Let's play. We got to do like they do in the podcast, like we're playing it.
Yeah.
Let's play "About to Lose."
Okay.
Kamala's theme song of the year.
Oh no!
I got this feeling I'm about to lose, but I don't ever wanna beg or choose.
All right. Any other music notes, Devin?
I listened to probably about the same amount of music as I always listened to this year. I feel like I had a tough time connecting to music this year. I don't know how much. I don't know how much of that was me or if the new stuff just wasn't that good. Especially looking back, where I got my like Facebook memory shit popping up, and I was like looking back on some of my old lists of like favorite albums and stuff. I was like, shit, I used to listen to a lot of new music and like not playing it once, but like on rotation throughout the year. And this year I was just like, it was tough to like, there wasn't a lot of new stuff that I connected with.
Yeah, I feel similarly.
I think next year I'm going to try to be a bit more intentional about it, because I think also it's like, I fucking hate the Apple Music UI, and it forces you to basically just listen to the last 3 things you listen to.
Yeah.
Or something completely random. So in 2025, my goal is to be more intentional about listening to new music.
So yeah, similarly, I'm not really a singles guy. So then I was trying to see like, okay, do I have a standout song? But I did pick one that it's by a band called Speed from Australia, who I saw in July. They're like a hardcore band, really heavy, but I think kind of have a lightness, or there's kind of a fun element to them where I think anyone who's at all open to like kind of loud rock could probably tolerate it. This is great for like a gym playlist. The song would be The First Test. It's on their new album, and they incorporate flute in a way that isn't as gimmicky as I would have feared.
You calling out Lizzo?
Heard about this?
Huh?
No. But
Andre
I don't
3000?
know, being like, all right, here's this hardcore band that's like screaming and moshing and stuff, and
and
they do flute stuff. I was like, but I saw them live before I had heard them before, but seeing them live, they were great, and the flute stuff played really well. And it's like, next time you're trying to get your pump on, throw this on, see how it feels.
Next time I'm trying to PR at the gym.
Yeah. Just throw it somewhere in the middle of the playlist there and see how you feel about it. I'd love to get your reaction, Devin.
I need motivational music to even get
out
to
the house.
gym.
No, it's good.
Yeah,
It's got
so
a
that's
nice
to
drive
hear.
to it. Yeah, throw it on. That's if I had to pick like one song. I was looking back because similarly to you, Devin, like I'll check out what comes out every week, but a lot of stuff I just lose after that week because I'm either onto something new, or most of what I listen to is, if you look at my Apple Rewind, it's just Bob Dylan, like 3,000 minutes or something. So it's not new at all. But
it's funny to see like what y'all are listening to week to week, because that is a thing with Apple Music. You see what other people listening to, but I see Noah's, and it's always like some random Bob Dylan album. Even prior to the Timmy stuff, he's an OG head.
This year for live stuff, I didn't see many things, but one kind of notable experience was this band Sun. And it's these two guys, it's like drone music. So they come out in robes and they both have guitars, and they'll just like strum a chord and hold it for like minutes. And it's the most incredibly loud thing I've ever been around.
Where'd you see that at?
That was at Lincoln Center. So it was like seated, a beautiful theater, and like fog and weird lights and stuff. But it was like, I had earplugs in, thank God, but it's like my whole body was like,
like vibrating,
reverberating. It was crazy. And like the first few minutes, you're like getting used to it. I was like, I don't know if I can sit through an hour or whatever of this. And then like you get used to it. It was really pretty. And then you're just kind of like you really are just like zoning out. But it was
It's a sensory experience. Sounds
yeah,
like.
it really was. It was pretty crazy.
All right, I think we can move on to the news events. I'll be honest, I don't really know exactly what I was thinking with this category. I guess like some kind of thing that happened in the news that you think has implications for next year. We obviously just did the assassinations episode, so that doesn't count. The one thing that's been in my mind is when the Democrats finally scrambled together to replace Joe Biden on the ticket.
Good day. We are coming on the air with significant breaking news and a critical moment in the presidential race. NBC News has learned President Biden will step aside as the presumptive Democratic nominee. He will suspend his bid for a second term, and instead he will pave the way for a different Democratic candidate to face former President Trump this November.
Wow, we were together that day. What a beautiful day that was. It was a beautiful Sunday. Is it a Sunday or it was
I think it was a
right?
Sunday.
Yeah,
Sunday
it was
afternoon.
a Sunday. We were getting together to do a photo shoot. Shout out Jordan Bowman for the podcast, and they just announced it while we were in there, or maybe while we were on our way there.
While we were
I think
on
I was
our
on
way.
the bus there. Yeah.
Because I was on a city bike, and people from work were calling me, and I was like, "Fuck!" Like I knew immediately what was happening, and I was like,
Yeah.
"All right, I got to pull over."
Because there had
to
been
the
for
side.
maybe 2 days, like
Yeah.
it might happen, it might
Yeah,
happen.
it
And
was
like, when's it
heavily
gonna
rumored.
happen? Yeah.
Yeah. But the reason I chose that event is like I go back and forth because on one hand it shows that like the Democrats, who I'm very cynical about, do have the ability to like get together and like do some big thing if they need to. But then obviously on the other hand it was like, yeah, they chose the wrong person clearly. Or like they could have like earlier in the year they could have been doing this so that we could do.
Yeah, we could have done this 2 years ago,
the whole
probably. But
process. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, 2 years.
Or
ago.
look,
Exactly.
it could have been right person. I think it's right person, wrong strategy. I think
Yeah.
she could have won if they threw Biden under the bus.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
see, that's why that moment frustrates me because it's like they were willing to do something,
Right.
but not the
They're
thing.
still so scared. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's what I go back and forth on. It's like, oh, it is good that they realized that they acknowledged how bad this was looking, and then they switched them out, and then it was like, but it's the same candidate.
Right back to the same
like,
playbook.
don't-
Yeah, it's so
like,
frustrating.
Don't worry,
Yeah.
we're still. It's like, God damn it! And now, look where we are.
Well, especially my frustration with that moment is like if Trump is such a big, like he is this huge threat to democracy, right? You're telling people this may be the last election if this guy is chosen.
I know.
So we're gonna do something that's never been done before. We're getting rid of our candidate.
Yeah.
And then for that to happen, but then for you to be like, but we don't want the new candidate to be mean to the old candidate. We don't want her to say anything not nice about the old candidate. Like, how is that where we're drawing the line?
She didn't have
Yes.
to be not mean about it. She could just say, hey, this is a different guy, different platform.
Yeah, she could have said he's the boss, so obviously I was going along with him. But
Yeah.
next year it's going to be me in charge, and here's what I would do to
And the
move
most
this forward. That's
Yeah, no
infuriating-
separation.
The most infuriating shit was they did the podcast with the Pod Save America people, like all the people
Oh,
running
yeah.
that campaign. This was like a month ago, I think.
Yeah.
And just like absolutely zero like self-reflection.
No.
Like
Like, what
they're
would you
blaming
different than-
everything in the world.
Nothing.
Yeah.
They just they just blame
so-
other people.
Yes.
Yeah, and so implications going, in the future, like I think it's nice that they can, do this kind of like hit the emergency glass thing if they need to, but hopefully they learn from this because another 4 years of Trump, not happy about that.
But it doesn't seem like they are learning from it based on what's transpired since then.
Well, hopefully at that point it'll be different people.
Yeah. We'll see.
Yeah, there's time.
But anyway,
Who knows?
my pick.
Yeah, there's time. That's a good pick, Manny. A nice hopeful pick in a way. Yeah.
Yeah.
My pick was not. I didn't follow the rules of this. I just picked what was an important moment to me this year, around the world of media, which is I found this TikToker who makes prank calls. He goes by the name. This is the funniest shit I've seen in quite some time. He goes by the name of Cassandra Bowman. I feel like prank calls were such a thing when we were kids, growing up.
Yeah.
Like Crank Yankers.
Yeah, of course.
Oh yeah.
I think Kanye was supposed to have like some sort of prank call show. It was like, did you ever do it with your friends?
Yeah,
prank calls.
Maybe a couple times. I was a good guy. Yeah.
Because it was we were like in the just like caller ID just becoming a thing, but you could still hide your number stage of things. And yeah, he has this TikTok where all it is like he prank calls people. And my favorite, like there's different like themes of these prank calls. But my favorite thing that he does is like, so it'll be like, Manny, you'll contact him and say, like, call my sister and tell her I put her down as a reference for a job. But, like, you won't tell your sister ahead of time. So he'll call and be like, all right, I'm calling. He does, like, this woman's voice. Manny put you down as a reference. Like, tell me how you work together. And to see, like, obviously the people are lying.
Yeah. Yeah,
That's
they're trying to hook their they're helping out their
And to see the hoops that people will jump through, because you'll be like, oh, actually they'll be like, where did you work together? And they'll say some like random company. And they'll be like, oh, actually I have you down as working together here. And they'll be like, oh yeah, we also work together.
She said she was the chief operations officer of a mid-sized startup and that you were the CEO.
Oh yeah, so we did theater together. My bad. That was a mid operation.
She said the startup was about biotech.
Oh, okay. Now I remember. I'm sorry. We worked together so many times. I'm sorry. Because I'm also entrepreneur, so that's why. So the biotech we did was we were pretty much had samples of different. What was it? We had samples of different hair products. And
she said that this was about developing medical devices.
Hold on, give me a second.
Okay.
Please hold. Okay, I'm so sorry.
Yes.
My bad.
That's good.
It's like on one hand it's so funny, but like if I got that call about my sister, I'd be lying my ass off. Like, yeah, we had a great time working at this company.
One of the last ones I saw, the woman was clearly like typing to try to like message the person and be like, what the fuck am I supposed to be saying? What did you put me down as?
Yeah.
And so she, like, the guy, he was like, are you typing? What are you doing? And she's like, oh no, I have a meeting. Like, I'm trying to send an email. I'll share one of the TikToks, but it's like I go to it maybe once a week to just like laugh out loud.
That sounds great.
It is incredible.
I was at a loss thinking about big news events because I was just like, I can only think about the election and like the Luigi stuff.
Yeah.
But then I was like, okay, let me just look at like a big list of news events. And I was looking and I found a story that I think everyone here is going to appreciate. At least, I mean, when I say everyone, I mean you too. And here's the headline from Reuters. This is in June. Wild horses returned to Kazakhstan's Golden Steppe after some 200 years. So these are the only remaining wild horses, and they've been returned to their ancestral homeland in the Golden Steppe. And I need to do some more reading, admittedly, to catch up on it, but it sounds like things are going well, and they're kind of rebuilding their, they started with a few, and now they're rebuilding up to get more and more back living naturally. So hopefully, 200 years from now, there will be plenty more wild horses.
Standing in fields.
Standing strong. Not running, probably.
You should send that article to Ren Hurst, the woman we interviewed.
I'm sure she's locked in on this. But yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
But I think
I've already seen it.
Yeah. I did this, actually. But yeah, I thought that was a nice positive story, which, we don't see much of these days.
All right.
Anything else?
What
Any
else?
other reflections of the year? Obviously, launching No Such Thing was a huge moment for me and the world.
Yeah. How could we forget?
Yeah, maybe the most important.
A couple months ago, really at the end of the year, launching this podcast, and it's been so fun. Obviously, we're getting a lot of fun reviews, and are super excited to keep it rocking in the new year. And as I just said earlier at the beginning of this episode, we are going back to regular episodes starting, what is that, January 7th?
I think, yeah.
The next episode is about whether it is okay to be on your bed with your outside clothes. So very divisive. We're getting a lot of voice notes in from our listeners. So stay tuned for that one. It's going to be a fun one. No Such Thing is produced by Manny, Noah, and Devin. The theme song is by me, Manny. Be sure to subscribe to nosuchthing.show, where you can find all of the music and movies and all the stuff we referenced on this episode. And we'll see you next week.
No such